Good morning. Um,
Hi.
I'm your therapist for the day. How are you, Greta? Is that right?
Yes.
So I see that you have chosen to come talk about some of the things that are happening in your life right now.
I'm pretty stressed.
Yeah. Um, why don't you give me an idea of what's been going on?
Well, um, I have two sons.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's younger. He's still in elementary school, but it's my older son. That's really causing me a lot of stress, and the
Mm-hmm.
situation that he's in. Um, Lately, he's been acting really strange.
Strange how?
He has been having like hallucinations. His behavior can become really erratic. Um, he's been like he calls me at work and he's just like fixating over things. He's having delusions. Um, he sleeps all day. He won't get a job. He's 19 years old. So I really think he might have mental problems, like
And,
serious mental problems.
and how long ago did this begin?
I think it was just a few months ago I started noticing it.
And he's never had symptoms like this in the past?
No,
This isn't
no,
this isn't something that you've seen glimpses of.
no,
Can you tell
no.
me?
This is completely out of the ordinary.
Okay. And so, does he have any kind of past history with drug use?
Well, he is smoking a lot of pot.
Oh my, yeah.
Um, and I'm thinking maybe it's because he's feeling so strange. He's trying to like numb himself. So the reason why this is stressing me out so bad is because I share custody with my husband of my other son.
Mm-hmm.
And if he were to find out that my older son had these serious mental problems, which are getting more and more serious, I would lose custody of my baby, and I just don't want that to happen. Also, my son is acting so strange, I'm afraid he could burn down the building or something. He's just doing weird things. And so I can't let my landlord, I can't let anybody know that he's having these problems. So I've been lying. I've been lying to everyone.
Well, that sounds like quite a burden for one person to be handling by
It
themselves.
is.
While I assume that you're the only one working in the household.
Yes, yes. I'm a single mom.
So you have, it sounds like it almost like you're leading a bit of a double life. Like you have.
I have to lie everywhere I go just to kind of cover up for my son. And it's bad. It's bad. I don't know what I'm completely overwhelmed and I don't know what to do.
Now, if you could go back just a little bit um, to a time when your son was not acting this way, can you describe how you would feel about your life in general?
Well,
Do you remember what it was like before
yeah,
the problem existed?
I do. I remember his senior year in high school about a year and a half ago. And he got average grades, but I mean, he had a part time job. He had friends. He doesn't have any of that anymore. Um, my job was going good, no problems. My younger son was doing great. We had a great life. There was really no worries. I mean, we're not rich or anything, but we didn't worry. I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to hide things.
So, what I'm hearing from you is you're missing the authenticity
Yes,
of your life
yes.
before.
When I could see friends, or I could be truthful with my ex-husband.
When you had no secrets,
Right.
was a time when you were feeling much better about your life.
Yeah, life was normal.
So, if you could, um, if you could maybe take a moment and think about what would be some of the benefits to you about leading the secret life? I mean, what about it makes your life easier? I mean, don't go too deep in it. Just try to think.
like the lying.
Yeah, like what is the good things about keeping your secret? How does that benefit you?
Well, the number one way it benefits me is I don't have my young son taken away from me. His father won't know that there's problems, and I'll still have, at least half custody of him. So by lying, I get to keep my son. I get to see my son. Also by lying, we get to have a place to live. I mean, I have to lie to the landlord. And when there's weird noises and stuff, I have to make up excuses. So, the lying enables me to keep my life. I mean, to keep a place to live, to keep my young son.
So it sounds like the lying helps you keep a sense of normalcy in a way.
Yeah.
That you can almost pretend like things haven't changed.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're at work and people ask, you're maybe making up stories about what is actually happening in your older son's life.
Well, yeah, because they'll ask me, how are the boys doing? I'll be, oh, they're doing great. And if we get invited, because, a lot of us have known each other for years, like they'll invite our family over for game night or something. I'm always making up excuses why we can't show up.
Okay, now let's flip it and look at it a different way. What way is the lying hurting and damaging your life? And how is it not working for you?
Well,
the secret keeping.
It's not working because it's stressful. And I have to keep track of the lies. Do you know how hard it is to keep track of what lie I told what person? Oh my gosh. Just the covering up is so stressful. And I am not a lying person. First of all, I'm not good at lying. Second of all, I don't like liars. It makes me feel like a really bad person.
So it sounds like you've got some guilt and shame. It also sounds like you've got some fear about maybe being caught in a lie just because you had a moment where you forgot all the details. And maybe you're worried someone's going to catch you in a lie.
Yeah, that's my biggest one.
I can imagine that would be very exhausting to keep up with.
It is. It's exhausting. It's overwhelming.
On top of actually having to care for your son when he's having such needs that must go on around the clock.
Yes, it does. I mean, when I'm at work, I am so worried something's going to happen at home. I'm constantly calling. I'll even though my home is far away from work, I will drive home at lunchtime as fast as I can to check up and drive back. It's taking a toll.
And I can see one of the problems with the secret keeping, even though I can see ways that it's helping you keep a sense of normalcy and protecting you from any custody confusion, I do see that it might be troubling you in the long run in terms of how are you going to be able to seek out treatment for your son if nobody in your life knows that there's a problem. I mean, do you think that you could get your son? Imagine.
Oh God, no.
Could you get him out of the house and
no, I've
force
tried.
him to go to a therapist? I mean, what would that look like?
That would probably end up in a screaming match, or him just running to his room and locking himself and isolating. I've asked him if we could, I don't have a lot of extra money, but I asked him, let's go together to the clinic and let's see what they have to say. And he he doesn't want to do it. Oh, I'm sorry, I must have left my
Oh, you're fine.
phone on. He refuses to go. He doesn't think there's a problem.
Well, how do you think you could get past some of these difficulties? Like, if you could envision a way of getting him to go see a mental health professional, maybe getting a diagnosis so you know what you're dealing with, maybe getting him medication so some of these alarming symptoms could at least be dialed down. I mean, can you envision a way that you could maybe do that with another person helping you? Is there any friend or family member that you trust enough that you could maybe move them into your circle of privacy so that you would have help physically getting him into services?
There might be this one person.
I'm worried about you being able to get him to the next stage if you're only one person. And I'm just, teenage sons, especially when they're almost 21, can be very big and
yes,
strong.
much stronger than I am.
And I'm concerned that if you don't get him any services, that this problem's not going to go away. But I just didn't know if you had thought about a picture where there might be somebody else who could help you with that emotional and physical.
You know what? Thank you, because you brought up a good point. There is somebody I think that I think I could trust.
And how does that feel when you think about having some help?
Oh my gosh, it brings me relief. I feel relieved. If I could just talk to somebody about this, you know, I mean, besides you, but talk to someone that might be able to help me. And there is somebody that I think I could trust.
Yeah, I see from your information that you've held a job for a couple decades, the same job. I mean, it sounds like, you know, you've been at the same location for a long time. It seems to me that there's probably some long-term people in your life that you could maybe reach out to.
Yes.
Well, I hope that some of this has brought you some peace of mind, and I hope that you decide to come back and let me know how things are going, maybe next week.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.